everyone, welcome to Little Way Homestead again. I wanted to do a little video on our chickens because we've had a bunch of questions on chickens. Why are my chickens not laying? Why are they getting sick? So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Everyone has different opinions. These are ours. So this is our experience. I'm going to tell you what we did first to our chickens and then explain. So first, we have our chickens here. We just moved these new layers from our chickshaw that's down there that our turkeys are using. We just moved them out of there into the coop for the winter. And in order to do that, we had to cull a bunch of our old layers. So after 2 years, chickens don't tend to lay as much as they did in the beginning. So between 18 months and 24 months, you're getting your most eggs. And after 2 years, it's occasional eggs. So you kind of get frustrated. You're feeding them, and you're like, what do I do? And they also begin to get sick. Some of them, not all. Our chickens actually, we haven't really lost many chickens to any disease. As long as you're feeding them well and adding apple cider vinegar to the water. I believe in apple cider vinegar. Some people don't, but I do. It works for us. And you're giving them some different herbs and minerals, they're going to stay healthy. And as long as they're getting out on fresh grass, you're going to have healthy birds. But they are more prone to disease after 2 years. So they lay less and they're more prone to disease. So on a homestead, to be more economical, unfortunately, you want to cull your chickens after 2 years. Now, some heritage breeds, they will last, they'll lay until about 4 years. So you could try to keep some to 4 years. We did. When we moved here 3 years ago, and there was already chickens here. The last owners left like 4 or 5 chickens, and we just killed them all except one of our mama chickens who's right here pecking. This is our Hannigan mama. Hi, Hannigan. She's our oldest chicken, and we keep her because she is the best mama. We've hatched so many eggs under this chicken, so we keep her. She's going to live out her life. We pardoned her. But let me show you these guys here. These are Icy Browns, and they were bred to lay like almost every day and be just super prolific layers, and then they just basically shut down after they lay so much. But these Icy Browns, they are the ones we pardoned. They're only a year old, so we kept them. They just finished molting. They're getting back their feathers. So when a chicken goes through molting, it's usually when they turn 1. They do a big molt and they stop laying. So they haven't been laying, and they're going to be starting, hopefully, because they're the chickens that are supposed to lay every day, just about every day. They're your most prolific layer besides the leghorn, which is the white one there. Yeah. So I don't personally like the Icy Browns. This will be once we kill them next year, or in the second or third year, depending. Probably going to go next year because they'll kind of taper out because they're laying all the time. So I don't suggest to get these. They're not as nice as our other chickens. So the kids and I, we just don't prefer them. So once we're done with these Icy Browns, we personally won't get them again. I'd rather just have the big fat chickens, which are the Brahmas. I love them. They're so beautiful. But these Brahmas tend to not lay until they're 7 months old. So you're kind of waiting on them. That's why you add other chickens to your flock. So you're getting eggs and from your other chickens. So we have the Australorp here, and the where did they go? The Brahmas, the white and black ones. They're really fat birds. They're really big, puffy birds because they're a dual purpose bird. And this one here, the oh my goodness, I forgot what this one is called. Where's my Joseph? Anyway, these are your dual purpose birds. The brown one, the Brahmas, and these Australorps. And the dual purpose means that they're laying for you, and then when they're done laying, they're your meat birds because they will have a good amount of meat like a regular meat chicken would have. So your dual purpose is your eggs and your meat. So we prefer these birds. This one, the Australorp, super, super gentle. Really like her. She's really gentle too. they're really all pretty gentle, especially if you're around them a lot. Even the Icy Browns could be gentle because you're around them, but I just find them to be more pecky, so I don't prefer them. And then also you have 365 days in a year, and which is really, you have 364 and a quarter days in a year, but most chickens will lay only 250 days a year. So you have a gap for your chickens. They need a little bit of a break, so you're gonna have time where you're not getting eggs. And that's why you introduce, like, at different times of the year, you add chickens to your flock, so that, you know, when some are done, others are laying, so you're never totally out with eggs. We're just getting a few eggs here and there right now because of the fall. Usually the chickens will begin to lay in the spring, and they'll be really prolific. You'll have eggs coming out of your ears, and you won't know what to do with them except eat them, sell them. Some people preserve them. You have so many eggs in the spring, and then come August is usually when they begin to not lay as much. It's hotter, so sometimes the heat, the change in the weather will have an effect on your chicken, and it's time for them to take a little bit of a rest, and you want that, because if they're not resting, you're going to end up with sicknesses. So you don't want to push them to lay too much. That's why you should preserve eggs in the spring, or find other people who have some eggs that are still laying. Most of the time your chickens will stop laying because, one, they need a break, 2, they're molting, 3, they're getting old. And another thing about chickens, how do you tell, like, how old they are if you don't know? My kids are so good at remembering who we got, when we got it. I can't remember who's who, but they use your children for picking out, like, specifics. They're so good at looking at detail, more than us, I think. So they remember who's who all the time. I just ask them. Some people will band their chickens. We don't, because I have Joseph who always remembers who's who, when we got who, when he loves the chickens. But another thing to tell is your smaller eggs are obviously your new layers. Then your eggs will begin, as they grow, the chicken's eggs will get a little bigger and a little bigger. And then your older birds who are laying occasionally, those are your big jumbo eggs. So your big jumbo eggs at the grocery store are from an older hen, and your smaller eggs are from a younger hen. You always know who's laying because of the size of their eggs. Your new birds or your old birds. But so we keep our birds for 2 years, sometimes 3, and depending on if they're a good mama, we'll keep a good mama. But we do that also because it's economical for us. On a homestead, you know, you're feeding and feeding and feeding your birds, and they just will get expensive if they're not laying. And so, and then they'll get sick on you, and then you can get your whole flock sick. It can be frustrating. So as hard as it is to cull them, I think it's best for them and your homestead economically to keep replacing chickens. And if you don't cull them and you keep replacing, you're just going to end up with so many chickens, and there's not going to be any food because they'll eat everything up. I mean, they will make it come down to this. We had them in here for the summer because we're opening up this as a hoop house. So we put them in here to kill the grass. And if you have so many chickens, your yard's eventually going to look like this if you have no space to move them. And it's good to rotate, let the grass grow back. We're not letting the grass grow back here because we want to put a garden at a hoop house here. So here is my Icy Brown. She likes to peck me, so I don't tend to like this one very much. Yeah, you are going to say hi? Hi. So I hope this video was helpful to anybody wondering about why their birds aren't laying or what to do with their birds. If I had a huge farm and lots of money, I'd keep every single animal because I love animals, but I can't do that. And you just learn, like, how to be grateful for what you had and to let go too of what you had, and then you're grateful because they end up being a really delicious meal for your family. So you win. You get eggs, and then you get a meal at the end. So chickens are the way to go. I honestly love them. They do so much on our land for us. As you saw, they're opening up that garden space. all that is basically compost. I don't do a big compost thing. I tried a few times. I just never keep filling it up. So we just throw our compost right into the garden, and the chickens scratch it all in. And so they're just so helpful. They eat ticks. They eat all kinds of bugs. So for our winter, they're living in this coop. And then come spring, they will go in the chickshaw to go out and get fresh bugs and move them around a bit too. So hopefully that was helpful for you, and comment below if there's anything else that you're wondering. This is how we raise our chickens and how we're grateful for them. So that's Hannigan. We named her Hannigan because at first the kids didn't like her at all. She seemed to be mean, always going broody. But I said to the kids the first year we had her, she was left here, she's going to be the best chicken we have. And it ends up being that's the truth. She's the best chicken we have. She's still laying too. And she's just a great, great mama. So we're grateful for Hannigan. She's going to live out her life on the farm. She's named Hannigan after the movie Annie. So if you ever saw that movie, the kids watched the movie right before we got our home, and they just thought she was mean, so they named her Hannigan.
Like and subscribe. Now he's on. Like and subscribe.